As a certified trichologist, I want to talk about this. Coming out of Consumer Reports, dangerous chemicals were detected in 100% of braiding hair that was tested for carcinogens. Carcinogens are chemicals that could lead to cancer, or they've been known to cause cancer. So if it's known, there is strong scientific data to link the chemical to cancer. Usually this means that there's multiple. So there's 2 or 3 sources confirming that the specific chemical is linked to cancer. So that's what we know. Those are known carcinogens. Probable carcinogens means that there's significant data of at least 2 to 3 sources that are confirming that there might be some correlation between a chemical and cancer. So there's a probable likability there. Possible means that there may only be one set of data confirming that there is a link between the chemical and cancer, but we don't have scientific confirmation that there is a link there. So with that being said, all the synthetic braiding hair products were tested contained multiple carcinogens. 3 of those products contained benzene, which is a known carcinogen for acute myeloid leukemia, and so many more. If you go directly to this article, down here they list each brand and each carcinogen that was in each brand. Now the samples were also tested for heavy metals, and while none of them came up with arsenic, 3 of the products had detectable cadmium in it. And even though the exposure and risk analysis found that the levels did not expose a risk, lead was, however, detected in 9 of the 10 products. And our exposure and risk found that all 9 of those products could expose a regular user of any of these products to a level of lead that could be very concerning over time. Now, they were only testing these products to see what they contained. There is no really measurement to see if any of these products exceed the legal standard. And when determining to analyze the risks, Rogers and his team, the scientists who did this study, considered 3 exposure models. So inhalation, skin contact, and ingestion. And for this particular study, they did choose ingestion because not only is the client exposed to this hair, but so is the installer of the braided hair, in which case particles can be inhaled by each person. But then they did also take into account that the person actually wearing the braided hair could accidentally ingest it with pieces of the braided hair breaking off, getting into food. People chew on their hair, as disgusting as that is. They do it. And so, or just touching your hair and then picking up your sandwich and eating it. You know, what risks are involved with all the different models of how you can actually ingest these carcinogens? They did take those into account. And then to top it all off, not only are you exposed to these carcinogens while the hair is in a cold state, but then typically when braiders are done with these types of hairstyles, they will dip them in hot water to seal the ends. And so what this study is also showing is that VOCs are released into the air when the hair is dipped into this hot water. And VOCs are human-made chemicals used to make paints, pharmaceuticals, refrigerants, and they emit gases. So when you take the hair and you dip it into that hot water and the steam comes up, that's actually a gas. And so that's why they chose to use the inhalation method, because that is where they're seeing the most exposure to these carcinogens. Consumer Reports did reach out to all 10 of the hair braiding companies, and only 2 of them actually responded. One of them was pretty shocked and said, you know, we stand by the safety of our products, and that was pretty much the end of the conversation and concern. As a certified trichologist and hair loss practitioner, I have tried for the last 5-6 years on this app to talk about traction alopecia, and the leading demographic in traction alopecia is Black women and people who wear extensions. And I have been screaming this from the top of my lungs for years, and I don't know if it's this that's stopping me or what's really suppressing me when I talk about this, but this is very, very concerning to me as a trichologist, because not only the demographic who specifically is purchasing this type of hair for braiding already has enough problems of their own, when I, as a trichologist, am recognizing, and trichology as a whole is recognizing, that the leading demographic in traction alopecia is African American women, then how come, what is the causation and correlation here that their rates of traction alopecia are higher than their counterparts, their white or Asian counterparts who wear extensions? Why are their rates higher than ours? And when you look at braiding hair having carcinogens in it, being on your scalp, being braided in as tightly and as closely as possible, those carcinogens are killing those hair follicles faster than their white counterparts using maybe tape-ins or a sew-in weave. And this is highly, highly concerning, and it is definitely something that we need to be aware of. We need to be making sure, as trichologists, as cosmetologists, as naturopath practitioners that specialize in hair loss, dermatologists that specialize in hair loss, it's really important to stay educated and up on these types of things, because if your client is coming to you and they are experiencing traction alopecia, because protective styles are there to protect the hair, but they don't protect the scalp. So we have to play this game back and forth, this dance back and forth. And if your client is exhibiting some contact dermatitis with that traction alopecia and they're using these products, this is a really good roadmap. It's just a way for us to get down to the cause. And if you are a consumer of any of these, here, I'm going to flood them somewhere in this video so you can see the ones that are in this article, or you can go to consumerreports.com, find the article, see if any of those brands that you are using, if you are, stop using them. Just be cautious. If you do braids, protective hairstyles, traction alopecia is already large enough as it is, but these brands will cause more traction alopecia. Love you guys.